We just know what it takes to win, and we're going to have to go out and just do it. I mean, it takes hard work, and we need that. We haven't really been working that hard recently, so we got to pick it up a bit.
They're a great team, and we have a lot of respect for them, but I think they should have a lot of respect for us. We're just as good, if not better. You know, whoever comes to show and play, and that's who's going to win.
In the 1993 Mennen Cup Championship, Delbarton defeated Morristown Beard 6-4. But in their latest regular season meeting this year, Mo Beard beat the Green Wave 3-2. Tonight, it's for all the marbles. The Mennen Cup Championship, it's Delbarton and Morristown Beard, and Sammons Channel 3 is here to bring it to you as the Crimson tries to stop the Green Wave.
Look in your eyes as you head for the door. It's a cold fire.
Hello everyone, Steve Tober and my broadcast colleague Pete Caggiano for the 1994 Mennen Cup Championship, Morristown Beard and Delbarton. A repeat of last year's final when Delbarton defeated Morristown Beard 6-4. Two teams, Pete, that are very familiar to the Mennen Cup final.
Absolutely. Delbarton has won 7 of the last 8. Mo Beard has been in 3 of the last 4.
Two teams have been to the final so many times. To have them back again, it was not an easy route though for Delbarton. They survived a 4-3 overtime decision over Chatham on Pat Nelson's overtime goal. And a game, Pete, you refereed. It was quite a physical contest.
Absolutely. And the pressure Delbarton put on in that third period against Chatham was outstanding. They scored the equalizer with about 4 minutes to go in the third period. And then with just 1 minute into the overtime, they scored the game winner.
Morristown Beard defeated Morris Knowles 4-1. Morristown Beard, a team which is very talented up front. One of the keys to watch today, Dino DeMarco, their junior center.
Dino DeMarco, as you mentioned, just a junior, 25 goals, 20 assists, 45 points. According to assistant coach Tom Previll, he says Dino is the guy to go to. When they need the big goal, Dino comes through.
Watch out for number 21, Rich Spiller, who has 40 points. He was a wing earlier in the season. He's now playing defense. They also have Spencer Tong on the right wing, another all-league player. For Delbarton, a team we're familiar with in state and Mennen Cup competition. Known for their defense, Derek McGuire, an all-state player now at Harvard, a 6th-round draft choice of the Montreal Canadiens. They have a key player now, though, a junior by the name of Matt Scorsoon.
Matt right now playing the best hockey of his career. As you mentioned, just a junior, 9 goals, 14 assists, 23 points. This player can control the game. He works very well from the point, both shooting as well as setting up his teammates. Look for him especially on the power play tonight.
Fran Polaro, another outstanding defenseman for Delbarton. Anand Surapaneni in goal, an all-state goalie, so Delbarton very strong defensively. It's going to be a matter of them scoring, though, to beat Morristown Beard. Two teams which were very close the last time, Pete. 3-2, Morristown Beard defeating Delbarton, their first win over Delbarton in 3 tries this season. Delbarton has beaten Morristown Beard 13 of the last 18 meetings with 2 ties.
But right now, Delbarton is struggling a little bit. As you mentioned, just 2 weeks ago, Morristown Beard beat them 3-2. It took overtime for them to get by Chatham the other night. And look at Morristown Beard between their victory over Morristown and then the one over Morris Knowles. They're playing very good hockey right now.
And Pete, if we do go to the extra session, if we are tied at the end of regulation, there will be overtime.
Yes, because this is a playoff game, they will follow the regulations dictated by the NJSIAA, which says there will be an 8-minute sudden death overtime. If after that the teams are still tied, they will go to a shootout in which each team will provide 5 skaters and go one-on-one against the opponent's goaltender.
It should be an exciting contest here tonight. Stay tuned because the opening face-off is coming up. We're back. at Mennen Arena in Morris Township. Steve Tober, Pete Caggiano getting set for the opening face-off. The Morristown Beard Crimson 17-5 and the Delbarton Green Wave 16-4-1. And Pete, while we have a chance, we'll take a look at the starting lineups. First for Morristown Beard, it'll be Ryan Leonard at left wing, Dino DeMarco at center, Spencer Tong at right wing. On defense, starting off J.R. Hatch on the left side and Sean Goodman on the right side, and Mike McGoy in goal. You see there, DeMarco, of course, their leading scorer, 25 goals, 20 assists for 45 points. Tong at 15, 16, and 31. And in goal, McGoy, 3.5 goals against. For Delbarton, the Green Wave at 16-4-1. Pat Nelson on the left, Andrew Keene at center, Tim Fleming on the right wing, the defensive pairing Tim Donahue and Fran Polaro, and Anand Surapaneni in goal, Coach Brian Day, as we get set for the opening face-off. And Pete, right off the bat, it'll be interesting to see what kind of tempo develops in this hockey game.
Well, I would not be surprised if Delbarton takes it right to Morristown Beard, right from the opening drop. They know how important this game is. They know how important it is to get off to a good start.
And off the draw, Delbarton controls in their own zone with a white and green trim. Morristown Beard with the crimson red and white and black. There's a shot, hard, sent aside. Fran Polaro in front, knocked away. Polaro sends it along the far boards to Keene, but over the glass he'll have a face-off.
And because the puck was shot out of the rink by the Delbarton player, they'll take the draw and move it outside the blue line. Let's just set your officials for tonight. The fellow dropping the puck right now, that'll be Jay Butterfield. And the other fellow, some people might recognize, that's John Warchall, the head coach of Seton Hall Prep.
Off the face, Joe DeSalazar controls for Delbarton and sends it into the Morristown Beard zone. Knocked along the boards. And Mo Beard will come out. Ryan Leonard sends it up to DeMarco, but unable to get it in. And it's dumped in.
See, there's going to be a delayed penalty against Morristown Beard. And it looks like it's going to be for a trip, as referee John Warchall sends to the box.
Ryan Leonard, the junior left wing, will go off for 2 minutes. Our first power play opportunity for the Green Wave, who now has their first line out on the ice of Nelson, Keene, and Fleming. And Scorsoon is skating with Polaro on defense. Matt Scorsoon, who we spoke about in the open, one of the top backliners in New Jersey. 9 goals, 14 assists. While the face controlled by Scorsoon in his own end. The Green Wave in one game this year, Pete, against CBA, 4 power play goals and 6 opportunities. They can certainly do the job on the power play, and we'll see how the Green Wave does here. Circling in is Keene. Pat Nelson, who had the winning goal against Chatham Township, sends it back to the right point to Polaro, who sends it wide. And Scorsoon. That's Scorsoon. Soft shot in front, and McGoy has it slapped away and sent back down. 1:22 to go in the penalty to Ryan Leonard.
That time Scorsoon was looking for a deflection. That was not a shot on goal. He had a teammate in front. He was trying to hit the open man.
Keene in front, rebound, unable to get his stick down was Fleming. And Mo Beard survives a rush. 1:02 to go in the penalty. And it's sent back to neutral ice, where Fran Polaro recoils, and a line change from Delbarton coming in close and unable to get it off was Jared Beck.
Nice play by J.R. Hatch there, just getting his stick on the shooter so he couldn't get off the hard shot.
And J.R. Hatch trying to get it out. Spiller, Rich Spiller, sends it back down, clears out. 35 seconds to go on the Leonard penalty. 12:46 to go first period, no score. Delbarton and Morristown Beard in the Mennen Cup Championship. From Mennen Arena in Morris Township, Steve Tober and Pete Caggiano. We're glad you can be with us on Sammons Channel 3 as Spiller sends it across. Polaro tries to keep it in. The score soon banged along the boards by DeMarco, and Mo Beard clears out. 4 seconds left on the penalty. It looks like the Crimson will survive their first man down situation, and both teams are at full strength.
Very nice job by the Crimson Tide. They kept Delbarton on the perimeter, did not allow them more than 2 shots in that whole power play, and it was very effective.
J.R. Hatch to Lapidus, who sends it to neutral ice. Shot sent on by Hatch. Rebound knocked back. Some hard hitting in the early going by both teams. Circling around and centering pass knocked away. That was Bryson Milliken who sent that shot in front. Milliken knocked off nicely by Tim Donahue and clearing out his Delbarton. As Hatch takes it back for the Crimson.
Delbarton was very lucky that time, Steve. A lot of pressure by Morristown Beard right around that net. The puck hit a leg one time and went just wide, but that's what Morristown Beard has to do. They have to storm the net, they have to put a lot of pressure, and they have to get right in the face of Serapani.
Nice check by Hatch. Knocking down to Salazar. And the Crimson with Dino DeMarco. Hard hitting in the neutral zone. And J.R. Hatch comes up with it. Ryan Leonard. First line of Leonard, DeMarco, and Tong out for the Crimson. Sean Goodman, the freshman defenseman. And it's intercepted in front. And McGoy comes up with it. Ryan Hassanine trying to get it down for the Green Wave, but a soft shot on net. And we'll have a face-off. 10:20 to go, first period, no score. Both teams a little tentative in the early going, Pete.
Very good observation, Steve. If you notice, both teams are making sure they come back and pick up their wingers coming back. If they're erring on the part of being overcautious, over-defensive. Nobody's leaving their check. Nobody's trying to make that big rush. They're all watching their defensive posts.
Captain Pete Connor takes the face-off for Mo Beard with Andy Keene of Delbarton. It's Keene and Nelson at first line. Finally, centering pass, and Donahue unable to get a stick down. We have a whistle.
That was a close one. That was offsides, but that's a tough call for the official to make. John Walchel right on the blue line. The puck was up in the air. The Delbarton defenseman caught it, dropped it right away, but it was beyond the line, and that's why the whistle blew.
Sent back for Matt Scorsoon, who tries to regroup for Delbarton. Attempted pass on the wing for Keene, unable to get it down. Fleming centers. Connor and Bryson Milliken trying to get it away, and they knock it back down, and Matt Scorsoon for Delbarton. 9:29 to go, first period, no score. There's Spiller, very dangerous. Tries a solo, but knocked away nicely. That is David Adler, centering pass, and Serapini knocks it away. And we're going to have a penalty, it looks like.
Looks to be either a hold or an interference call coming up against Delbarton. As that time, Morristown Beard putting a lot of pressure on, and Rich Spiller was sitting right in front of the post, looking for that rebound, but Serapini made the kick save and draw the rebound far away.
Rich Spiller, who lines up as a defenseman, though he played a lot of wing this season, and he can certainly score. 22 goals, 18 assists, coming in for 40 points. A face-off to the left of Serapini. Dino DeMarco takes it with the Salazar. Jason Manius in his own end sends it back to Spiller. 9 minutes to go, first period, and it looks like Tommy Purville is running the team for Mo Beard.
I spoke to Tom a little earlier today, and he said Ed Towers was out of town and was trying to get a flight back in for tonight. He must have got caught up with the big traffic jam at the airport.
Of course, we have some bad weather supposedly coming tonight, but Ed, I spoke to him the other day from Chicago, and he said he had been snowed in, and there was a threat he might not be able to get back if the weather turns sour. 1:27 to go on the penalty to Tim Fleming of Delbarton. First power play opportunity for Morristown Beard. Delbarton has had one power play, was unable to convert. Now the face-off to the left of Mike McGoy, the goaltender for Mo Beard. Andrew Keene centers it for Nelson, and J.R. Hatch comes up with it for the Crimson. Crimson a little slow in getting anything going here on the power play.
Very deliberate. Again, not wanting to make a mistake. They know how explosive Delbarton can be, even when they're a man down.
Bounced in front, shot on goal. Stopped away by Sura Panetti. As Andrew Keene battles.
You saw a big save there, Steve. He held his ground, forced the shooter to put it right into his chest.
DeMarco sends it wide. As Hatch comes back, sends it back to Manius. Manius on the right wing and unable to get it down was DeMarco.
That's a real tough shot to make, Steve. It's a one-time shot. You have to hit it on the fly. Even the pros have trouble with that one.
DeMarco and Tong, the two powerful skaters, along with Spiller out on the ice on the power play. 24 seconds remaining. There's a shot by Spiller, a slapper from the left point and grabbed by Serafineni.
That was an easy save. That was fluttering. Came from about 55 feet out, but so far tonight he's been sharp. He's playing his ground well, and he's playing his angles very well.
Only 20 seconds left on the penalty to Tim Fleming, the sophomore wing for Delbarton, and 7:32 to go first period. No score. Fran Polaro chased behind his net by Lapidus, and clearing out nicely is Delbarton. And it looks like the Green Wave will survive their first man down situation. 4 seconds, 3 seconds left on the penalty. Centering pass for Lapidus. Drop pass. And unable to get down was Milliken.
Steve, that looked so good, it almost worked. The last pass was a little behind the skater. That was a perfectly executed 3-on-2. It went from the left to the center to the right, but the last pass a little off the mark, and consequently, Mo Beard did not get a good shot off.
And both teams now at equal strength with 7:03 to go first period. You're watching Mennen Cup Championship action on Sammons Channel 3. Face off to the left of Serafineni. On the draw, a little soft dump sent in by Jared Beck. As the third line is on for the Crimson, Beck, Dick Connor, and John Ridley. As Fran Polaro regroups for the Green Wave. Kept in by Spiller, and Dick Connor will dump it in. 6:35 to go in the period, and play is being controlled right now by the Crimson. Manius chases back. Quintana centering pass in front, and a goal for the Green Wave.
That had to bounce off somebody's leg, Steve. I didn't quite see
Ryan
it.
Law was in front, the junior center.
They'll probably give the goal to him. We'll have to wait for the official announcement, but he was cruising right down the slot. The centering pass came from the corner. I know he didn't get a stick on it.
Law from Quintana. And it's 1-0 Delbarton.
And that all developed because Delbarton cleared the puck out of their zone. It was close to being an icing. Goaltender had to play the puck. McGoy did not get a good clear. It went into the corner. Delbarton made the quick centering pass. Nice play by Brian Law. And Quintana, I think it bounced off his leg. I think he'll get credit for the goal. And that gives Delbarton a 1-goal lead here in the first period.
5th goal of the season for Brian Law, and the 6th assist on the year for Jason Quintana. That's the yellow line for Delbarton. They're really their third line, but they came up big. And the first line back out for Delbarton with Nelson, Keene, and Fleming. So the Green Wave, right when I said Mo Beard appeared to be taking the play, Delbarton comes right back, scores soon, sends one in front. And McGoy comes up with the save.
That's all it takes is one little bit of change in momentum, and Delbarton can control this game. There you saw pressure again right in front of McGoy. Puck trickled out. He jumped on it, held on for the whistle. And right now, a little bit of collection time for Mo Beard. They have to get their sights back in order. They have to get back to their game and just play hard.
At the face in the slot. Scores soon, sends it up, and McGoy comes up with a nice glove save.
That time the shot from about 45 feet out. McGoy saw it all the way, caught it with the gauntlet, and held on for the whistle.
Score soon is a very quick shot. Very strong shot for the backliner. Face off Keene and Connor. Battle along the boards. Pat Nelson and Spiller colliding. And it's Pat Nelson trying to send it back for Scorsoon. Scorsoon knocks down Pete Connor. We're going to have a penalty against Scorsoon.
What an elbow Scorsoon just threw right there. Forearm right to the face of the Mobeard player. Delbarton complaining a little bit, but that was real obvious. And Mobeard will go on their second power play of the evening.
It'll be 2 minutes for elbowing for Scorsoon, the junior defenseman. 5:38 to go first period. 1-0 Delbarton, and a second chance on the power play for the Crimson. Delbarton taking a 1-0 lead at 8:39 of the period on the goal by Brian Law with an assist from Jason Quintana. We have another whistle.
Puck shot up into the Morristown Beard bench, so they'll bring the faceoff back to where it left the ice, which is about 15 feet into the Delbarton zone.
And Pete, we have the dangerous skaters on ice for the Crimson with DeMarco, Tong, and Spiller, all multi-goal scorers. Manius sends it on the right for Hatch. And back in neutral ice and regrouping is Jason Manius for the Crimson.
That's the price you play when you run your offense from up at the blue line rather than from deep in the corner. When you're on a power play, you want to work it from the corner back rather than from the top in.
There's a shot by Manius. Rebound attempt by DeMarco in front. Tong, again, Hatch steals.
What poise, what character by Morristown Beard. You thought he was going to shoot it on the first shot, but he held on. He knew he had a teammate on the right-hand side, and that time J.R. Hatch was set up beautifully, and all he had to do was lift the puck over the goaltender. He had him at his mercy. He took his time, wristed the shot just over the pad, and we're tied with just 4:59 remaining here in the first period.
And the Crimson fans are excited. We are tied at 1 at 10:01 of the first period. J.R. Hatch with that rebound, and the Crimson score on the power play. So a very costly elbow.
When the Scorsoon got the penalty, you put yourself a man down, but also you lose Matt Scorsoon for the 2 minutes, so it's a double whammy.
Exactly, Pete. And 4:38 to go in the period. We're tied at 1, and this game is shaping up very much like the last meeting between these two teams when Morristown Beard won 3-2. Now Milliken does it, but it scores!
Again, super pass work, all within 15 feet of the net by Morristown Beard. They have the momentum. Delbarton is back on their heels. I think Delbarton's just going to try to escape this period for the last 4.5 minutes, try to regroup in the locker room, and come out for the second period.
Bryson Milliken scoring for the Crimson. Beautiful opportunity. Sirapanetti was really helpless there, the Delbarton goalie. And Bryson Milliken converts, and the Crimson score quickly back-to-back. 22 seconds between those two goals.
Right there, the defense for Delbarton left their goaltender all alone. He was at the mercy of the shooter, and that time he got beat on a backhand, and we have a new hockey game.
Ryan Law tries to set it in for Delbarton, but Ryan Leonard will hear nothing about it. Calaro and Delbarton shocked here with two quick goals within 22 seconds, and Morristown Beard has taken a 2-1 lead. 3:54 to go in the first period. Spencer Tong, DeMarco, well, the long centering pass for Tong, and Tong is knocked away nicely by Brian Law as Lacey tries to send it out, but the Crimson regroup. J.R. Hatch.
Game getting very physical now, Steve. Every man is following through with his check, taking a piece of the guy every chance he gets.
3:22 to go first period as J.R. Hatch regroups for the Crimson. Joe DeSalazar, Ryan Hassanine, and Jeff Waring now on the ice. There's another opportunity sent wide by Pete Connor. As Scorsoon tries to get something going for the Green Wave, or at least get it out of their own zone. Spiller, though, regrouping. Rich Spiller can really skate for the Crimson.
What Mo Beard doesn't want to do is get too cute right now. Get the puck out of your zone, get it into the Delbarton zone, and put the pressure on.
De Salazar can't get his stick down for Delbarton, and cleaning it out nicely is the Crimson. 2:30 to go first period, 2-1 Morristown Beard. Very soft shot sent on by David Adler.
Here's where Mo Beard has to be careful. They have to play tight defense in their zone.
De Salazar sends it in. Jeff Waring battling along with Goodman. And Hassanin has it taken away. Jeff Waring sent that shot on, and really Delbarton unable to get off any strong shots here, Pete.
They were pretty much bottled up that last sequence, but they're so potent and so powerful. They could look real bad on one shift, and on the next shift explode with 2 goals. So you really can't count them out.
The fans certainly enjoying this first period. 2-1 Morristown Beard over Delbarton. 1:50 to go in the period. It'll be Connor and Keene facing off. Delbarton keep it in. Polaro along the near boards with J.R. Hatch battling. And Pete Connor comes away from Morristown Beard. Bryson Milliken, who scored moments ago, dumps it in. And Fran Polaro will try to get out of his zone for the Green Wave. Here comes Fleming. Looking for Keene, but Keene not in position for that one. And Spiller comes away. We're approaching the final minute of the first period. Milliken and Nelson battling. Nelson looking. Polaro out by the red line, but it's cleared out by the Crimson. 54 seconds to go first period. 2-1 Morristown Beard.
Mo Beard will be very happy to go into the locker room with a 2-1 lead right now. They played extremely well this period.
Pat Nelson. Not good numbers there, 1-on-2, and Rich Spiller sends it to DeMarco. DeMarco slaps, and saved by Surapineni. Nice save by Anand Surapineni.
Great save by Anand. That time he played the shooter real well, gave him nothing to shoot at. Great shot by DeMarco, hard slap shot, but right into the chest, and he held on for the whistle. We're seeing great up and down hockey tonight.
DeMarco had 2 goals and an assist in the semifinal victory over Morris Knowles. He has that powerful slap shot. 32 seconds to go in the first period, and Morristown Beard is off to a 2-1 lead over Delbarton.
Again, Delbarton, not a stranger to coming back. Remember against Chatham, they trailed 3-2 going into the third period before scoring the equalizer and then the game winner in overtime.
A shot from the left point by Hatch. Kicking it back in is Goodman. 23 seconds to go in the period. Chasing it down is Jared Beck. There's Hatch once again. 10 seconds left. Scorsoon will be happy just to get this puck out of his own end. Dumps it down. And that's it. That's the end of the first period. And Morristown Beard has come out quickly, scored 2 goals within 22 seconds to take a 2-1 lead over Delbarton. We'll take a timeout and be back with second period action right after this. As the teams get back on the ice for second period action, it's 2-1 Morristown Beard leading Delbarton. Steve Tober, Pete Caggiano at this Mennen Cup Championship game from the Mennen Arena. And Pete, an exciting first period, and Morristown Beard with a better of play.
Well, Morristown Beard did a nice job rebounding after the quick goal by Delbarton. Delbarton jumped out to the first score by Brian Law when the puck bounced off his ankle and then went into the net. But it was Morristown Beard with a great pass work first. J.R. Hatch scored at the 10:01 mark, and then just 32 seconds later, Milliken on a great passing combination from Connor and Lapidus put one home to give Morristown Beard the 2-1 lead after the first 15 minutes.
And that Milliken goal, a power play goal with Matt Scorsoon of Delbarton off for roughing at 9:22. The other penalty for Delbarton, Tim Fleming, 2 minutes for interference at 5:48, and Ryan Leonard for Morristown Beard for tripping for 2 minutes, 40 seconds into the contest. Morristown Beard with an 8-5 edge in shots in the first period, and the goals by Hatch and Milliken and Law for Delbarton. And really not much out of that first line for Delbarton. Pete, with Pat Nelson, Andrew Keene, and Tim Fleming, they get a little bit more mileage out of their red line, which is what Coach Brian Day calls his first group.
You're looking at players, Nelson with 23 goals, Keene with 17, Fleming with 13. That's an awful lot of scoring power. But give credit to Morristown Beard. As I mentioned earlier, they're playing their check well, they're playing position very well. They're staying in their lanes and they're picking up the winger, coming back into their zone.
Let's take a look at the 1993 game played Morristown Beard Delbarton. Delbarton winning 6-4, and that was one of many finals between these two teams, Pete.
Well, these teams have met quite a bit. In fact, Morristown Beard and Delbarton hooked up last year, as you say, to score. Not even that close. Delbarton was in total control last year at the state finals. And year before that, it was Randolph against Delbarton. The 1992 championship was Randolph came and upset Delbarton by the score of 3-2. And then, of course, before that, 91, 90, 89, and all the way back to 86 was all Delbarton.
And talking about the Mennen Cup and the Mennen All-Stars, both these teams with league All-Stars out of the Mennen division. Morristown Beard, Dino DeMarco and Spencer Tong, both first-team players, along with Rich Spiller. Coach Ed Towers' team, very explosive. DeMarco, 25 goals, 20 assists coming in. Spencer Tong, 15 goals, 16 assists, and Spiller, the all-Mennen defenseman, 22 goals and 18 assists. And Delbarton, both Matt Scorsoon and Fran Palaro, first-team all-Mennen players. And that shows the strength that we see for Delbarton. And on Surapineni, also in goal, a first-team selection, their veteran goalie, who was a second-team all-state player last year. The Green Wave with 3 first-teamers.
And Steve, while you're mentioning all-staters, 3, possibly 4 other players, and we'll get into this a little later, will be playing in the first New Jersey High School All-Star Game.
And we'll get into more discussion about that All-Star Game when we get a moment. We're underway with second period action. Morristown Beard now moving from left to right. And regrouping is Andrew Keene. Keene solos across the Mo Beard line, loses control. There comes Rich Spiller. Spiller loves to kick the puck around, kick it ahead of him. It gives him an advantage either off the boards or behind the defending skater.
Again, Steve, the first 5 minutes will be a real telltale sign here. As I mentioned, Delbarton looking to regroup. The faceoff's going to come back now in front of the goaltender for Mo Beard, Mike Magoo. And let's see how they do for the first few minutes here in the second period.
With the icing call on the line shift, the puck comes all the way back down to the right of Mike McGoy, the Crimson goalie. And it's interesting, Pete, the only goalie on the Mo Beard roster is Mike McGoy.
Steve, I'm glad you brought that up. Mo Beard in a real precarious situation here. They only dress one goaltender. And in fact, talking to Ed Towers and Tom Perville, they say this is the only guy we have. We have to protect him, and hopefully he'll keep us in the game.
A shot wide by Scorsoon of Delbarton. De Salazar, Hassanin, and Waring, the blue line out for Delbarton, their second line, designated as blue. They have the red line of Nelson, Keene, and Fleming, and the yellow line of Quintana, Law, and Lacey. In neutral ice, Goodman sends it along the near boards. A very young Morristown Beard lineup. Leonard, DeMarco, and Tong, all juniors. And on defense, Goodman just a freshman and Hatch a junior.
Steve, you talk about young. On the entire Morristown Beard team, there's only 3 seniors. They're loaded with juniors, 9, 1 sophomore, and 3 freshmen.
Quintana is knocked along the boards as Morristown Beard has had the more aggressive of play. And here's Dino DeMarco losing control.
Here's a case of too much water on the ice where the puck just stopped dead and prevented the player from picking it up.
Here's DeMarco chasing as Scorsoon recovers. Nice job by Adler coming back on defense for the Green Wave. Little Dino DeMarco, a little dump pass to Lapidus, who centers. And coming away is De Salazar. The Crimson putting the pressure on. Scorsoon sends it along, and Spiller cannot control. And knocking it free momentarily was Scorsoon, as we have a line change for the Green Wave. Brian Law, Jason Quintana, and David Lacey now on. Both teams will try to skate 10 forwards and 4 defensemen, alternating a second wing on their third lines.
Again, Steve, both teams playing very good position. The wingers halfway up the boards, waiting for the outlet pass from the defenseman, doing a nice job clearing the zone.
Well, loose puck in front. Serpenini stops the shot by Lapidus.
Very good opportunity there for Mo Beard, but again, Anand came up with a great
Spencer
save.
Tong. Anytime you let Spencer Tong or DeMarco control that puck in your zone, you're asking for problems.
And especially if you leave them alone directly in front of the net, as they were just then.
And an icing call across the 3 lines. And we'll bring it back down to the right of Anand Surapaneni. 11:39 to go, second period. 2-1 Morristown Beard. You're watching the Mennen Cup Championship on Sammons Channel 3. Steve Tober and Pete Caggiano. Glad to be here for this exciting county final action.
You mentioned before how young of a team Mo Beard is with just 3 seniors. Delbarton only has 6 seniors. They have 7 juniors, 4 sophomores, and no freshmen.
Dick Connor and Andy Keene face off. Hatch keeps it in. Ridley, Beck, and Connor, the third line for Mo Beard, and they're doing a pretty good job of keeping it in control.
Players are doing a good job of keeping their wing and putting a lot of pressure on, good forechecking, and not letting the other player get in the open.
Here comes De Salazar circling in, knocks the goal cage away.
Well, he's looking for a tripping penalty, and it was real close to being one as he beat the Mo Beard defenseman to the outside, then got taken down with the stick, and after he slid into the net, he knocked it off its mooring, so they'll take the face-off and probably move it outside, and that's what it looks like Jay Butterfield is going to do, move that face-off outside. Good chance there for Delbarton, but they come up empty-handed.
10:59 to go, second period. This game is moving so quickly. 2-1, Mo Beard in front. Rich Spiller trying to get it out. As play gets a little bit more aggressive here in the second period. Spiller, he loves to send that puck either across the boards or bounce it. He's a very swift skater, Rich Spiller, the junior defenseman. Sending it free now for De Salazar. De Salazar skates in. Sends it out to the left point. Little center pass to Keene in the slot. That is knocked away nicely by Spencer Tong.
Great play by Spencer Tong. He went down on a knee and smothered that shot.
Fran Palaro now.
Delbarton has 2 players parked in front of the net. This could be dangerous.
A little sniping going on for the Green Wave. De Salazar right in front, but the puck slips past him.
That time the centering pass a little too hard. Joe DeSalazar, the senior forward, was unable to get a piece of it.
On the line change, Keene. And we have a whistle. Looks like we have a penalty. Could be a high stick.
It's going to be interference against Morristown Beard. John Warchell on the call.
Interference, and
looks to be Spencer Tong, the junior forward.
Spencer will go off. First penalty of the second period, or fourth penalty of the game so far. 9:44 to go, and the Green Wave will be on the power play with a golden opportunity to tie this game.
Well, the face-off is about 20 feet into the Morristown Beard end, and watch, as we mentioned earlier, how Delbarton will work the puck from the point. Expect Max Scorsoon to really be the catalyst on this power play.
On the power play, they like to pair Scorsoon and Polaro. They're two first-team All-Mennen Division defensemen. And now they have the first line of Nelson, Keene, and Donahue out as well. Keene comes in. Fleming on at the wing. Tim Fleming takes the pass. Fleming blocked nicely by Goodman. Centering pass in front for Fleming, who's knocked down. And Polaro unable to keep the puck in as the Crimson clears out. 1:24 to go on the interference penalty to Spencer Tong. 9:04 to go, second period. 2-1 Morristown Beard. Mix up at neutral ice as the puck is sent in, but knocked down by Scorsoon. Trying to get onside and unable to, as Keene on the far side was offside.
Nice play by Matt Scorsoon, jumping high, preventing the puck from being iced all the way down, but a little too quick stepping over the blue line, causing the offsides. We mentioned earlier about Matt Scorsoon, just a junior. Steve, I would not be surprised if he is selected to the All-State team by Mike Morial, the Star Ledger. This kid's been an outstanding prospect all year. And again, he's only a junior. Imagine what he's going to be like next year.
Hard hit along the boards. Ryan Hassanane really pummeling into Milliken. Sent wide. 36 seconds to go on the Tong penalty as the Salazar keeps it in. Jeff Waring chasing down with Spilling. Hassanane sends it out. Dino DeMarco knocked away by Scorsoon.
Great play by Scorsoon. He took the player, forced him to the outside, and then smothered him. So not only didn't he have a shot, he didn't even have a pass.
Polaro sends a hard shot from the blue line. 1 second. Both teams now at full strength as Tom comes back on ice. Spiller comes in. Sends a shot wide. Ryan Hassanane chases down along with TJ Egan. Nice hit there by Pete Connor. The captain for the Crimson draws a roar from the Crimson faithful.
Very nice job by Mo Beard on that short-handed situation. Delbarton only had 2 good opportunities the whole 2 minutes.
Centering pass. TJ Egan chases it down and Spiller comes out. Delbarton much more aggressive here in the second period.
Definitely much more physical, Steve. They're really taking the body.
Spencer Tong. Wide by Law. Brian Law, Jason Quintana, and Lacey now on for the Green Wave. Centering attempt by Law. And here comes DeMarco. On the left for Ryan Leonard. And he's knocked away nicely by Tim Donahue.
Great play by Tim Donahue. Forced the man wide to the outside, half a step in front of him. Did a great job pinning him behind the net.
Centering pass for Tong from DeMarco. And cleared out a dangerous opportunity. And
Delbarton is forced to ice the puck, as you mentioned, Steve. A lot of pressure by Mo Beard right in front of the net. And again, Delbarton looking to stop the play, give their players a chance to change up. They ice the puck. And we have about 6:14 left here in the second period, so we're about halfway through this game.
Face off to the right of Anand Penny. Andrew Keene and Peter Connor, two centermen on, will take the draw. Morristown Beard looking for their first Mennen Cup championship since 1983, when head coach Ed Towers was a player for the Crimson. We see Ed Towers in the box. He was not here at the start of the game. Ed on a business trip out in Chicago and may have had some problems connecting getting in tonight. Tim Fleming chasing it down for Delbarton. And he's knocked on the boards by Milliken. Fleming sets it free to Polaro. Polaro from the slot. Shot in front. Nice save by McGoy. Nelson unable to get a stick down. And we're going to have a penalty.
It's going to be an interference penalty against Mo Beard. But Mike McGoy, what a great save he made on that shot from the point. Using his right pad, got the big stop. The puck was laying in front. And in that situation, Mo Beard scrambling, trying to pick up every Delbarton player they can. And they're going to get called for interference.
That'll be Andy Lapidus going off for the Crimson for 2 minutes. Second power play opportunity of the period for the Green Wave. 5:38 to go, second period, 2-1, Morristown Beard leading Delbarton. Delbarton defeating Chatham 4-3 in overtime in their semifinal, and Morristown Beard defeating Morris Knowles 4-1. Scorsoon keeps it in. 5:22 to go in the period. Polaro, he loves that shot from the point, but he's going to regroup. And he'll take the shot, and it's knocked down in front.
Steve, I don't know what that hit, but it deflected off something about 3 feet in front of the goaltender and went just wide.
It might have hit Pat Nelson, who was in front. Rich Spiller dumps it back into neutral ice and into the Delbarton zone. 1:16 to go on the interference penalty. To Lapidus. Here comes a shot by Keene. That's wide. 4:42 to go in the second period. And Delbarton trying to do something here on the power play opportunity. Score soon. Can't get it down. And here comes Dino DeMarco. One-on-one. Knocked down by Scorsoon. You don't want to let DeMarco get an open ice.
Oh, DeMarco was awful tired. It was at the end of his shift, and he goes right to the bench now.
Pat Nelson. And that's knocked away by McGoy. 34 seconds remaining on the Lapidus interference penalty. As Peter Connor sends it, it gets his own rebound and sends it over the net.
That was dangerous. Backhands, you never know how they're going to come off the stick. That time it went just high.
Andy Keene centers it, nobody there. Kept in though by Polaro. Polaro all alone, and he scores! Fran Polaro in the slot all alone and sends it by Mike McGoy.
It was almost like the sea parted. He was given a slot to walk right down the middle, took his time, beat Mike McGoy over the left shoulder. That time he had no chance to make the save, but give credit to the shooter. Fran Polaro, the senior co-captain, perfect wrist shot, picking the upper corner, tying the game at 2 with just over 3.5 minutes remaining here in the second period.
And there was only about 6 seconds left on the interference penalty to Lapidus, so it is a power play goal. And we're tied at 2. 3:42 to go, second period. An exciting Mennen Cup championship game. And we're hoping you're enjoying the hockey action on Sammons Channel 3.
Steve, that was a breakdown because the player was allowed to come right down the middle all by himself, nobody around him.
Shot by Hatch. Knocked down, an opportunity now for Delbarton. Shot from the left, knocked away by McGoy. Ryan Hassaning's shot, a soft shot, easily knocked away. Here's De Salazar sending it wide.
Delbarton getting very physical here, taking the body every chance they get.
Ryan Leonard comes out. We saw the other night Pete, you refereed the game. Delbarton came on very strong the latter half. I'm talking to the middle of the second period on against Chatham, and we're seeing maybe more of that here tonight. They seem a little bit more refreshed, and they're playing good, crisp hockey right now.
Well, I don't know if they're more refreshed, but they can definitely turn it on when they need to.
Delbarton keeping it in the zone. Polaro, loose puck, scores soon. He keeps it in. He sends it wide. As Hassanin chases it down, looking for DeSalazar in the slot, but nothing there. 2:24 to go, second period. We're tied at 2. Matt Scorsoon and Bryson Milliken along the near boards, and it squibs free as Polaro sends it in. With a line change as the third line, the yellow line of Quintana Law and Lacey now on for Delbarton.
Steve, you're seeing some good pressure here by Delbarton. Excellent forechecking. You're really doing a nice job.
Scorsoon centers it, but Quintana unable to get his stick down. 1:44 to go. And a little bit of action in front as the goal cage is knocked free. A little physical in front. Here, Brian Law was mixing it up a little bit with Rich Spiller.
Looked almost like a WWF match. Full Nelson by one of the players there. As we take a look at some of the fans cheering their team on.
Pretty young ladies for the Crimson enjoying the action.
But what you're seeing is the referees tonight are doing an excellent job, and they're not calling the little stuff. They're letting the players play, and they're going to call things that are either going to prevent a goal or cause an injury. Just about anything else they're letting go. You saw the physical work in front. No harm, so no foul, and they let the play continue.
Andrew Keene, Pat Nelson, Tim Fleming, the first line, the red line for Delbarton, back on. 1:43 to go, second period. It'll be Keene and Pete Connor facing off to the left of Morristown Beer goalie Mike McGoy. J.R. Hatch sends it behind his own net as goes back to neutral ice where Fran Polaro will try to regroup. Green Wave much more aggressive here. Here comes an attempt for Keene, knocked away by McGoy, a nice save by Mike McGoy.
Again, he used that right pad. That's about the third or fourth time this period. He's extended that right leg and made beautiful saves.
Andrew Keene came in all alone, but Mike McGoy came up big in the nets for the Crimson. We're down to 1:07 to go, second period. 2-2 the hockey game, the Mennen Cup Championship of 1994. Last year, Delbarton edged the Crimson 6-4 in the title game. Morristown Beard has been in 3 of the last 4 finals. Delbarton has won the last 7 of the last 8. Nelson, off the pipe. 43 seconds ago, that hit the left post.
I wasn't sure if it hit the post or the arm, but it was close.
38 seconds to go, Pat Nelson. We've seen some golden opportunities for the Delbarton forwards. First was Andrew Keene and then Pat Nelson. Spencer Tom trying to get it out and sending it over the glass is Sean Goodman. We'll have a face-off with 25 seconds to go in the second period.
Steve, you've seen how explosive Delbarton can be. From almost nothing, that situation, they had a 3-on-1. The player elected to take the slap shot, but he could have dropped the puck. He had 2 players trailing the play.
The games between these 2 teams have gotten more competitive as the season has gone on. Delbarton beat Morristown Beard early on 9-0. And then it was 4-2 Delbarton. And then 2 weeks ago, the Crimson edged the Green Wave 3-2. And we're seeing that kind of a game here tonight. A very close, tightly contested match in the Mennen Cup final. The Salazar centers with 12 seconds to go in the period. Hassanin looking for Waring as Jeff Waring loses control, and that's the end of the second period. A very spirited period of play. Only 1 goal scored, that by Delbarton with Fran Polaro on a power play to tie it at 2. An exciting first 2 periods of action. Morristown Beard and Delbarton deadlocked at 2 apiece. We'll take a timeout, and we'll be back with third period action right after this. We're back at Mennen Arena in Morris Township. Steve Tober and Pete Caggiano getting set for third period action. We're tied at 2. And Pete, a very exciting second period as Delbarton picked things up. Fran Polaro scoring a power play goal unassisted at 11-13 to tie it. And the Green Wave had an edge in shots at 6-3, so we're now tied in shots 11-11 over the first 2 periods.
Well, we're tied in shots, we're tied in score. That period belonged to Delbarton. Again, a lot of pressure. They worked the puck real well. It was a power play goal by Fran Polaro as he took the shot from about 15-20 feet out, scored up over the left shoulder of the goaltender. And right now, both teams are poised to come out and play an excellent third period. They've rested for the past 12 minutes. We're going to see who wants this one the most.
This is the 4th meeting this season between these two teams. 3 regular season meetings. Delbarton winning 9-0 and 4-2, and Morristown Beard winning 3-2 2 weeks ago. And Morristown Beard playing very strong hockey of late. They own a regular season win over Seton Hall Prep. And from the NJIHL, Delbarton has defeated CBA and Don Bosco Prep and St. Joseph Montfield. So both teams with some very impressive in-state victories.
Well, both these teams, I should say, Delbarton has the state tournament coming up in the very near future. And they are in the same bracket with some real powerhouses, including Christian Brothers Academy, Toms River North, Bishop Eustace, and of course Chatham, who they had to force into overtime to win just the other day.
Well, it looks like Delbarton is probably going to end up facing the Roxbury Bayonne winner in the first round. And then they could face Chatham again in the quarterfinals if Chatham can defeat Bergen Catholic. And then you're talking a possibility of Toms River North and CBA in a semi, the winner of that. And then in the final, if it comes to be either the 2nd or 3rd seed, Seton Hall Prep or Don Bosco Prep. So regardless, they're going to have a tough haul to get to win actually the 3rd state championship in 4 years.
Well, if you look at the top teams as rated by Mike Morial of the North Star Ledger, you're looking at Delbarton ranked number 1, Don Bosco Prep 2, Christian Brothers 3, Seton Hall Prep 4, and Toms River North 5. And really, Steve, any one of those 5 teams can do it. It's whoever is hot at the time, whoever is playing well at the time. All 5 teams very well coached, very explosive offensively, and all 5 play a very physical game.
The Green Wave actually has been in the last 3 state finals, losing to St. Joe's 3-2 in overtime in 1991, a game we did on Sammons Cable, then beating St. Joe's in 1992, and then losing to Toms River North 6-2 last year. So they've actually won 1 of the last 3, and they're looking to make their 4th straight state final. But right here, they're looking for their 8th Mennen Cup championship in the last 9 years, which is an amazing string.
Well, if you take a look at the history of the Mennen Cup, it started in 1976 when this league was just formed. As most of these teams way back used to be part of the New Jersey Interscholastic High School Ice Hockey League. And then when the Mennen Arena was built back in '76, this league here was formed. And for the first 6 years, 5 of those championships in the first 6 years went to Chatham Township. Then there was a small stint of 3 out of 4 years for Morristown Beard. And now it's been 7 out of the past 8 for Delbarton.
And here comes a fired-up Green Wave of Delbarton hitting the ice for the 3rd period and getting slapped on the head with appreciation from their faithful Green Wave fans. A very strong fan contingent from both schools. Both these teams, hockey powers, and have great backing from their Mennen Arena. And this is where the state final is going to be on March 12th, a 7 p.m. start. A great site for state final or Mennen Cup action.
This is a real class facility, Steve. Reynolds Fossey, the manager, has always been gracious and cooperative whenever TV has come in here, radio has come in to do a game. They work very well with the teams, very well with the officials. It's a real nice place to do a game. And speaking of nice people and good people to work with, I just want to mention some people who are back, not really noticed. They're the official scorer, the timekeepers, the penalty timekeepers. They sit in that little glass back there, and I just want to mention them because they do a great job. George Surratt, Ray Murray, and Paul Pearson.
And the Crimson hitting the ice. The fans are getting fired up for this 3rd period. We should mention, coming up on March 26th at the Bridgewater Sports Arena is the inaugural Senior All-Star Game, which promises to be a great event. From Delbarton, Anand Surapineni will be on the team, along with Pat Nelson. And also Fran Polaro will actually be on the national squad. The American squad will have Surapineni and Nelson. Pete Connor from Morristown Beard will be on as well, who's an alternate. So we have some good representation from these two teams and some great players from around the state. Andy Pachalik, one of the great defensemen from Hightstown, who I got a chance to see earlier this year, one of the state's top defensemen. Brian Martin of Roxbury, who's a fine player from up here in Morris County. Ed Kostrowski from Chatham. Brian Kuiper, the Player of the Year from Morris Knolls in Morris County.
Don't forget Greg Toxis from Don Bosco.
Greg Toxis is probably a potential, I think almost a definite first-team All-State player.
I would say.
Mennen will be the goalie for the American team, so that's going to be a great event. Brian Day here in his second year, the very erudite coach for Delbarton, a history teacher at the Morristown School. 36-8-3, nice record as he smiles there on the sidelines. Of course, two great assistants also for Delbarton, Paul Sylvester and Tom Humphreys, both natives of the Bay State of Massachusetts, along with Brian Day. Brian Day went to Hamilton College in New York, but graduated from Thayer County and Weymouth, Massachusetts. Paul Sylvester out of Catholic Memorial High School in Boston and a Bowdoin College All-American. One of the assistants, Tom Humphreys from Middlebury College, the captain there, and from Wakefield, Mass. So a great coaching staff for Delbarton. Of course, Morristown Beard, Ed Towers, who we see there on the left, who came here late. He arrived here late from his business trip in Chicago, but he's here for the second and third periods. 80-31-5 in his fifth year. Tommy Perville, we see in the middle, former coach at Montclair Kimberly Academy, former Montreal junior player, a Canadian native, a great hockey mind, and he's got a great bench there as well. Ed Towers with his staff.
Absolutely. Spike Billings, the athletic director at Mo Beard, has really put together a great coaching staff for his team.
Coming into this week, Delbarton, the #1 ranked team in the Star Ledger top 15. Mike Moriallo, we saw here earlier this evening, a fine hockey writer, has the Green Wave #1 in the state. Morristown Beard is #9 in the state currently, but they could rise up if they come up with an upset victory today. They could make a big jump in the state rankings. This is the season finale for Mo Beard. They do not play in the NJSIAA public school tournament. They lost to Pingree in the private school tournament final. Pingree was upset by Morris Knolls in the quarterfinals of the Mennen Cup, Pete, in a game that went to the overtime criteria. It was decided in a shootout.
That was a great game. Tied 5-5 after 3 periods, no scoring in the 8-minute overtime, and then only 1 goal out of 10 shots in the shootout.
And we're underway with third period action. The Mennen Cup Championship, and this game could go right down to the wire, and who knows, maybe we'll have overtime. Pat Nelson for Delbarton, the Green Wave now moving from left to right, and the white with green trim, and the crimson red with the black and white trim moving from right to left. Sean Goodman tries to keep it in. Back at neutral ice, regrouping, but stealing was Pat Nelson. Ryan Leonard all alone on the left wing, sends one wide. Pete, if you look at the goaltenders in the first 2 periods, I'd have to say that Mike McGoy has probably had the more difficult opportunities and more difficult saves to make than Anand Surapaneni.
And he's come up big many times. As I mentioned earlier, he's used his right pad extremely well to kick out the puck.
Fran Polaro, who had the tying goal in the second period for Delbarton, on along with Scorsoon. They're pairing Scorsoon and Polaro more often on the ice. When they start the action, the general pairs are Tim Donahue and Polaro and Dave Adler and Scorsoon, but they're trying to get Scorsoon and Polaro on the ice as much as possible. Here comes Hassanin on the rush. Centering pass for Waring, but it slips past Jeff Waring and sent back down to the other end. We're going to have an icing call here against Morristown Beard, and they'll bring it all the way back down to the right of Mike McGoy. 13:30 to go, third period. We are tied at 2.
A real lapse on the play of Morristown Beard, allowing the Delbarton player to be all alone in front. Luckily for Mo Beard, the pass was behind the Delbarton player, and he was unable to get off a shot. But again, this period starting out the same way the first and second period started out, slow and deliberate. But as each team warms up, you'll see it pick up.
There's a shot in front to Salazar, can't get his stick down, and McGoy covers up.
Well,
nice work in front by Spiller, protecting his goalie as well.
Well, he did have it momentarily, and that's when the officials blew the whistle as soon as they lost sight at it, at the puck. But again, you're seeing Delbarton starting to put the pressure on. They're going to the net. They're going to stand in front of Mike McGoy as much as they can to screen him and bother him as much as they can.
The captain, Pete Connor from Morristown Beard, takes the face with DeSalazar. Sending it free is Bryson Milliken. He has one of the Mo Beard goals here this evening. 13-13 to go, third period, tied at 2. We remind you, if we're tied at the end of regulation, it will be an 8-minute sudden death overtime period. And if it's still tied, then they'll go to the 5-on-5 shootout. Rich Spiller. We have not seen him do too many solo skating situations here tonight, but Spiller can fly. We see him now on the left wing for Morristown Beard. Hassanin sends it along the far side. DeSalazar. DeSalazar, Hassanin, and Waring, the blue line for centering pass at the doorstep and sent it home, and Morristown Beard has taken a 3-2 lead.
Well, we said earlier he would be the guy that scored a big goal. He got the pass from behind the net from junior Ryan Leonard, who centered it in front, and that time DeMarco parked about 15 feet in front of the net, tapped one home, and it gives a 3-2 lead for Morristown Beard with just 2.5 minutes here into the third period.
And Pete, we said on the open, who's the clutch guy that assistant coach Tom Breville pointed to all season long, but number 9, Dino DeMarco. And that time DeMarco comes up with his 26th goal of the season, and it's 3-2, Mo Beard.
But you really have to credit Leonard for the pass. Beautiful centering pass from behind the net, and it was just tapped home by DeMarco.
Ryan Leonard, the junior left wing, picking up that assist. The goal comes at 2:29 of the Green Wave. They did it the other night against Chatham in the semifinals. We'll see if they can do it here this evening.
And they also give an assist to Spencer Tong, number 6, the junior.
Shot on goal and a score! Pat Nelson, it looked like. We'll see who gets credit, but Delbarton has come back to tie it.
Excellent play. Pat Nelson parked on the right side. Another lapse by Mo Beard. It was a 2-on-1. Nobody standing with Nelson. Beautiful centering pass. All he had to do was redirect the puck. That time Mike McGoy did not have a good shot, a good chance to make the save. It beat him over the left pad, and we're knotted at 3. This is a seesaw game tonight.
Lightning strikes as the two teams match goals, and we're back to a deadlock at 3-3. 11:46 to go, third period. Action really picking up here as Spiller sends it along the far boards. But keeping it in nicely is Law. That is Andy Keene who gets credited for the goal.
Stevie Macy a change in that one. The players will talk to the officials after the game, because I think that was touched in front.
It appeared to be Nelson initially, but they are crediting it right now to Andy Keene. It's 3-3. As Spiller ties it up with Brian Law, and we're going to have a face-off. No, the puck is knocked free. Now we'll have the whistle. 11:03 to go, third period. 3-3.
Face-off coming outside the zone. Official Jay Butterfield saying that the Delbarton player put his hand on top of the puck and caused the whistle. That was Devin Dangler, the senior forward.
Devin Dangler, who shares time at right wing with Daniel Lacey. And it's interesting, Pete, Daniel Lacey of Polish-American extraction. He spells his name L-A-C-Z, but it's pronounced Lacey. Very interesting, no vowel on the end, just for us English linguists here who follow such things. Losing his stick was Hatch, as Spencer Tong tries to solo out, and he does, across the Delbarton line, sends one wide. And a shot on by DeMarco, knocked away by Surapaneni. Centering pass. Joe DeSalazar starts out for the Green Wave and dumps it in to the Crimson Zone. Jeff Waring will chase along with Lapidus and Hatch. J.R. Hatch and Spencer Tong. 10-12 to go, third period, 3-3. Steve Tober, Pete Caggiano. We hope you've enjoyed this hockey action on Sammons Channel 3. It's been a good one. There's a shot over the glass sent by Ryan Hassanin.
Game is pretty much evened out right now after that explosion with the 2 quick goals. Both teams going up and down, picking up their wing, doing their back checking. Just 10 minutes and 1 second remaining here in the third period. And as you mentioned, if we are tied after regulation, we will go to an overtime.
And Matt Scorsoon is now on team with David. Dumps it for Adler. Knocked along the far boards and kept in by Jason Manius. Now a centering attempt by Milliken. And here's David Adler trying to send it out, and he dumps it out. Andy Keene with a centering pass. Scorsoon centers. Play really picking up here in the third period, Pete.
Well, I'm starting to watch some of the Mo Beard players, and their shifts are getting a little longer. And that may come back to haunt them. Rich Spiller, the junior defenseman, is skating 2 and 3 minute shifts at a time. So that might be part of the reason why you don't see him with that explosive offensive rush.
I noticed the other night in the semifinal, as we have the offsides, Tong and Spiller seem to be on the ice. Logging time is more than anyone else by a large margin. Mo Beard, as you mentioned, loves to keep those swifter skaters on the ice as much as possible, and we'll see if it comes back to haunt them. Mo Beard has had some league all-stars on first team. Dino DeMarco, Spencer Tong, and Rich Spiller, all first team Mennen Division League players in 1994. Delbarton comes out of its own end as Hassanin looking to center to Polaro. 8:43 to go in regulation. We're tied at 3. Here comes Spencer Tong across the Delbarton line. Nothing going as Surapineni sends it off the boards.
Good play by the Delbarton defense that time, sandwiching the player, not allowing him to break through the middle. He coughed up the puck, and again, the whistle here to stop play. But Delbarton is starting to turn on the pressure. Here is where Mo Beard must keep their composure, play their game, pick up their wings, and when they get the offensive opportunity, then make their break, then make their rush.
Delbarton went on top in the first period, 1-0 on Brian Law's goal at 8:39, but then Morristown Beard came back with 2 goals, J.R. Hatch and Bryson Milliken on a power play. It was 2-1 Morristown Beard at the end of 1 period. In the second period, it was Fran Polaro on a power play, 2-2, and in the third period, it's been Dino DeMarco at 2:29 of the period, followed by Andy Keene of Delbarton, and we're tied at 3 with 8:05 to go in the third period. Connor and Egan sending this Egan and Adler battle along the near boards. So back to Spiller from the point wide. Jason Manius tries to keep it in. And the captain, Fran Polaro, the co-captain, along with Pat Nelson for the Green Wave, starts it out. 7:30 to go, third period. Andy Keene comes in, he's knocked down, and we're going to have a delayed penalty.
It's going to be a tripping penalty. You cannot leave your feet and play the man. Even if you play the puck first, if you take the man down after leaving your feet, that's a tripping penalty. And that's exactly what happened right there. As you saw, Rich Spiller, the player for Delbarton, had to step on him. He dove trying to get the puck, but instead of the puck, he took the player out. And now Delbarton will get a power play with just a little less than 7.5 minutes remaining here in the third period.
And Delbarton took advantage of the power play in the second period when Fran Polaro had tied the game at 2-2. It'll be Spiller off for 2 minutes with 7:23 to go, third period. Off the draw, the Green Wave trying to keep it in, as Polaro will have to chase down in neutral ice and regroup with Scorsoon. Scorsoon, Polaro, Nelson, Keene, and Fleming on the ice for the Green Wave. Here's Fleming. Sends it in, and a nice save by McGoy.
Shot up around the shoulder height, and the junior goaltender, Mike McGoy, had a little trouble with it as it was caught up on the top part of his shirt, but he was able to wrap his arms around it and hold on for the whistle.
7 minutes exactly left in the third period. And we're going to go right down to the wire in this 1994 Mennen Cup Championship game. Keene and Connor off the draw. Polaro straight on as Fleming was unable to get his stick down as the puck sailed through. There's a centering pass again for Fleming. And Skorsoon keeps it in. Here's Keene, sends it wide. 1:11 to go in the penalty to Spiller. As Milliken comes free with it for Morristown Beard momentarily. Pat Nelson lost a glove on the ice and picks it up. Keene has to delay a little bit to prevent the offsides, as we'll have a line change for the Green Wave as the Salazar, Hassanin, and Waring now come on the blue line to try to finish out this power play with some success. They haven't been able to do so far. 35 seconds to go on the tripping penalty, 5:55 to go in the third period. It's DeMarco, and a glove save by Surapineni. Kind of an innocent looking shot, but Surapineni coming up to the left hand and making a nice glove stop.
Steve, we were able to see from our angle, Surapineni played that shot so well. He watched the shooter. He had
his career at Delbarton, looking to go to his 4th state final. 5:45 to go in the third period. We're tied at 3. We remind you, if we are tied at the end of regulation, there will be an 8-minute sudden death overtime. Hassanin sends it in. Jeff Waring loses control, and Hassanin will try to center it. 4 seconds left on the penalty. Here's a shot by Fleming, knocked away. And both teams are at equal strength with 5:11 to go in the third period. Rich Spiller's penalty has been served. The freshman defenseman, and he is down on the ice.
Steve, I was watching the play. It looked like he got either hooked or tripped from behind. So I'm assuming it has to be either an ankle or a knee. It was just as he was coming out of his zone and trying to center the pass up, and it looked innocent enough, but he went down in a heap, and obviously he is in pain.
Sean Goodman, the young freshman defenseman, as we see the Morristown Beard staff out checking Sean, and he appears to be okay. We'll see. He's a little shaken up. He might have got the wind knocked out of him. We have 5:04 to go, third period, tied at 3. And Pete, while we have a minute, remind our fans again of the overtime situation and what can happen.
Well, if the teams are tied at the end of regulation, they will play an 8-minute sudden death overtime. If they are still tied after those 8 minutes, each team will pick 5 shooters, and there will be what is known as a penalty shot or breakaway situation where they will alternate shooter from one team against a goaltender for the other team, almost like a top of an inning and bottom of an inning, until all 10 shooters are complete, and the one with the most goals will be declared the winner.
And we'll see if we get to that point. We'll know in the next 5 minutes. We're tied at 3, third period. Sean Goodman hopefully will be back for his regular shift for the Morristown Beard Crimson. They have their first line out now of Leonard, Tong, and DeMarco, with Spiller and Manius on defense. 4:30 to go in the third period. As Tim Donahue chases down. And Mo Beard, who's put the pressure on when they've had to, and they're trying to regain the lead that they had earlier in the period. Andy Keene, he scored the tying goal. He's across the Mo Beard line. Tries a backhander to center, but it's off the skate of Spiller. We're down to 4 minutes to go, third period. Spencer Tong. Action along the near boards, and Spencer Tong trying to chase it down before Matt Skorsoon can get to it. DeMarco with a centering pass to Tong. Leonard with the rebound. Backhander by DeMarco and wide. Nice play by Andy Keene to slip that puck away.
That was real close. A lot of pressure right in front. The puck hit a few legs, but did not go in.
Great action in front. Tong had a chance. DeMarco had a chance on the rebound. Here's Polaro. And Fleming, unable to get the angle, sends it back to Nelson. Nelson to score soon from the right point. Blocked nicely by Ryan Leonard. Great job by Ryan Leonard, and they clear out of the zone. Here's DeMarco. Action picking up. 3:05 to go, third period. We're tied at 3. You're watching Mennen Cup final action on Sammons Channel 3. Steve Tober and Pete Caggiano. It's been a good one. Score soon in Polaro, Pete. The two offensive-minded defensemen. We see them together when Delbarton wants to get a scoring opportunity.
And they do play well together.
Brian Law almost knocked down. He's coming in hard with Sean Goodman, and I guess Goodman is feeling okay after being banged up earlier. Milliken dumps it down. 2:30 to go, third period.
Steve, we're pretty close to overtime right now, pretty close to sudden death. I would say the next goal is going to win this game. And
Listening, looking to get it off, but Spiller knocks it away. Law tries to center. And here comes Spiller. He's the skater we've been talking about. Rich Spiller sends it wide. Donahue tries to get it out, but keeping it in on a shot. Rebound by Tom, and Serapinetti comes up big.
great saves by Serapinetti. That time he cut down the angle. It was T.J. Egan with one of the shots, Spencer Tong with the other. But again, a lot of pressure by Mo Beard right in front of the net. And with just 1:51 remaining, we're in for a barn burner.
And that is where you love to have that veteran goaltender in, Anand Serapinetti. He's been there many times before. He's got a 2.6 goals against. He's allowed only 39 goals all season. Withdrawal will be to the right of Serapinetti. Connor and Keene, a shot and a stop by Serapinetti. A difficult vision angle for Serapinetti.
Well, that shot was deflected by DeMarco, and that was a great save as it jumped up, changed direction a few inches, and hit him right in the shoulder, and then he held on for the whistle.
It's a mixed line out there of Egan, Connor, and Tong for Morristown Beard. Shot by Hatch is blocked. And here comes Pat Nelson and Andy Keene. Keene is knocked away. Good job by Hatch. And here comes Spencer Tong. We're down to 1:25 to go. And Serapinetti will cover up. We'll have another face-off.
Well, now with just 1:25, you don't worry about who's on whose line. You're putting your 5 best skaters out there for this last minute and 25 seconds.
They are going to give a brief rest, though, to Tong and DeMarco, who are going off for a respite as Andy Lapidus checks in along with Pete Connor, the captain. Jason Manius, Rich Spiller, and Bryson Milliken on for the Crimson. It'll be DeSalazar and Connor on the draw to the right of Serapinetti. 1:24 to go, third period. DeMarco and Keene with third period goals. DeMarco for Morristown Beard and Keene for Delbarton. Brian Law trying to clear it out, but Pete Connor keeps it in for Morristown Beard. Manius fans. We have a whistle. We're going to have a penalty here, Pete.
It looks like it. It must have been very obvious because you don't call a penalty in a tied game in the last minute unless it's real obvious or it was going to injure a player. But Jay Butterfield is going to the scorer's table, and he's going to sit down for the green wave. It looks like to be Brian Law, the junior.
Wow, that's some break for Morristown Beard, who's going to have a power play to the end of the third period. We have a 1:11 to go in the third period, 2-minute penalty, so it's really a moot point
No, that'll carry over into overtime.
It'll carry over to the sudden death overtime, so actually we'll see what happens if they can capitalize. If not, they'll have 59 seconds in the extra session of power play opportunity.
And the timeout is being called right now.
And we'll keep it right here. 1:11 to go. We're tied at 3. The Mennen Cup final on Sammons Channel 3. Steve Tober, Pete Caggiano. This has been one of the great hockey games that we've done in a while. We did the 91 state final on Sammons, Pete and I, and that was a great game, an overtime game with St. Joe's defeating Delbarton 3-2. But this game has had all the ingredients of a tournament championship contest, and Delbarton looking to defend their title. They beat Morristown Beard 6-4 last year. We see Brian Law in the penalty box going off late. And Pete, as a referee, you rarely see those kind of calls made, but it must have been obvious.
It had to be obvious, and it had to be a dirty play or something that would have caused injury to the opponent, because as you mentioned, tie game, championship game, 1:11 to go. Both these officials, real top-notch guys out there. They would only do it if it was real obvious and it had to be called. Speaking of the officials, I mentioned earlier that one of our officials tonight, John Warchell, the coach of Seton Hall Prep. You look at our coaches tonight, Ed Towers, 80 career victories, Brian Day, 36. John Warchell has over 300 career victories. He is number 2 in the state, following Bob Oriana.
Of this third period, we're tied at 3. And we have a whistle as Andy Keene was banged up for the Green Wave, their junior center. We look at Delbarton during the 94 season. And who they've lost to. Actually, the graduation loss, you talk about losses in talent from last year. Max Von Zubin, Matt Whiting, John Sullivan, an all-stater, and Tucker Kroll, all members of their state championship team of 2 years ago. But you look at the team losses from this season, 4 losses as well. Lawrenceville, Fairfield Prep, Morristown Beard, and Toms River North. As we see Andy Keene held off by Coach Brian Day. And that could be a big loss for the Green Wave. With 58 seconds to go in the third period, we're tied at 3. Morristown Beard in the power play. We see Andy Keene coming in with 17 goals and 18 assists. He added goal number 18 here in the third period. So now he has 36 points on the season. It was Keene's goal which tied matters here in the third. Keene scoring at 4:12 of the third period after DeMarco had given Morristown Beard a 3-2 lead at 2:29 of the period. 50 seconds to go. Pat Nelson knocks it away and clears it out of the zone. Good job by the senior wing and co-captain Pat Nelson of Delbarton. And we're down to 40 seconds to go. Matt Scorsoon dumps it out to neutral ice. We're down to 28 seconds to go, and it looks, Pete, like we're going to go to overtime unless something happens here in the final seconds.
Delbarton doing their best and doing a great job keeping Mo Beard out of their zone for the last 20, 30 seconds of this period.
13 seconds, 12 seconds left in regulation. We will go to a sudden death 8-minute overtime as it's down to 2 seconds, 1 second, and that is the end of the third period. And Morristown Beard will continue with the power play for 49 seconds of the overtime, the sudden death 8-minute overtime. And while we have a break and we're tied at 3-3, let's take a short timeout and we'll be back with that sudden death overtime right after this.